There I go, going Mega Eagle. Alright folks, how are you doing? Look at this little peach of an engine, yeah? So we're making a vibrating bench for making concrete precast sections, yeah? I want about 10,000 RPM dodgy, yeah, on my vibrator weights. You know, we've got output here. At the minute, that output's set up on the camshaft, so this output will only be at 1500 RPM. So we've got to switch that over to the crankshaft, and then that'll give us 3000 RPM. Also, we just got to get this engine running, make sure it actually works. And I expect if you've seen this, it means that I've got it going, but I don't know at the minute, so you might not see this, and it might be dead film, and no one will ever see it again. But you know, let's give it a go, and if it doesn't work, we'll find something else. Okay, so I need parts for this engine. I'm going to take a little bit of a gamble. Yeah, I think it'll probably go. No reason to think it won't. And if not, we'll make it go. Yeah. So anyway, got this big lump of steel, second hand. It's already been welded up into a sort of T shape. And what we're going to do is mount these pillow blocks. These are quite heavy pillow blocks. I hope they'll be alright. They should be. We'll stick them, you know, but come around the back here. There's gussets on the back of this bit of steel. Yeah, got some nice gussets there. Some nice Lincolnshire soil. Look how dark and rich that is. Yeah. Envy of farmers everywhere. Fertilers, no, them ones. So I reckon we'll try and straddle these gussets with the pillow blocks, so we'll end up with a section there, and there. We'll basically have 4 weights in all, you know. So we'll have a pillow block with a shaft running between them, and then we'll weld a weight to the side of that shaft. Yeah, we've got to be a little bit careful because there's not a huge amount of clearance there, is there? This is going to be the drive end. We'll stick a pulley on here. Broke my M12 die yesterday. I guess it was getting blunt or whatever, but that's unfortunate. So it's only half threaded. It doesn't matter. I don't like this sticking out so far, so I'm just going to move that bearing. That's better. Right. Let's stick a keyway in this shaft, and then make some pulleys, I guess. It's only a little baby mill, but it's very, very handy, isn't it, hey? Just remember, ladies and gentlemen, every like you give one of my videos, every share, every recommendation or whatever gets me one step closer to having the Workshopolopolis mega compound and not having to stick wood on my beautiful Smart and Brown lathe. Yeah, cheers, guys. I'm building up a nice little collection of patterns for pulleys, pulley patterns, patch of pulleys, and what? Haven't got anything I really like for the engine side of things here, so I could have perhaps done it with that one on the engine and that one on the vibrator, but that would have meant I'd be using narrow, small V-belts, yeah, because this is a small pulley, so you can't use the thicker, bigger belts. Dangerous Dave gave me a load of belts, which is cool, thank you Dave, but they're nice chunky belts, so we'll make a much larger diameter pulley to go on the engine, and then use probably that one for the wobbler plate, yeah, to go on the driven side. So we want to go large to small, which is backwards to how I normally do things, isn't it? Normally we're trying to get less speed, more torque, but in this instance, in this rare instance, we're going very torquey medium speed to not so torquey high speed, yeah. Danger zone, lads. 10 grand, hey, anything could happen at the next couple of hundred RPMs.
Just half the age of the oldest. And though Marshal was a civil title, not strictly a military rank, the men known to the army as les pulley.
To $100 billion between Turkey and Russia. The trade has already grown by 60% from last year, and it has doubled in the last 5 months of 2020.
Alright, so we're gonna do the smaller pulley with the little gas foundry, because I've been making my own green sand again using the clay from out of the hole, actually, because I'm pretty sure it's bentonite clay. I don't know if it even really matters, just as long as it's clay. But this, like previously when I tried to make green sand, I'd use cat litter, and that has a lot of actual stone in it that you can't break down, so it's a bit of a pig to get all of that out. But this breaks down really nicely. It's quite pure, but you know, I think my sand might be a tiny bit on the damp side, I don't know. Either way, we'll find out, and if it works nicely, then we'll do the larger pulley in the new waste oil foundry, which still isn't quite melting copper nicely. It's actually melting itself before it melts the copper, which is a problem, but you know, it'll do alley fine. So, and that's what we're after today. We'll just test out the green sand on a small pulley with this, and then hopefully it'll dry the green sand a little bit as well, so it'll be a little bit safer. safer doing the larger pulley. There's mishaps with the casting, but I don't want it to happen now. Well, I never wanted it to happen in the first place, did I? But okay, well that wasn't enough, was it? Bollocks. Bollocks, cock and balls, cock and balls. Cock and balls. I can officially say, oh, well that has part filled it. Maybe we'll get lucky here, lads. Check this out. Oof. Nice bit of steam, lads. Steamy, steamy. We'll make a panini. We're getting wasted here, folks. Last thing we want, isn't it, eh? Last thing we want is to waste this precious sand, especially if it's worked. My precious. Ooh. Looking promising. Look at this. I think we've had some success here, lads. Oh, you know what a lovely pulley blank. Oh, yeah, no defects. No, a couple of little blebs there. That's an excellent result as far as I'm concerned for homemade green sand. That's fabulous, yeah. Flipping fantasticals. All right. It's not a pulley yet, obviously, but let's cast the big one and see what happens there. There we go. I missed out the most exciting bit of the film. That's my unfinished oil burning foundry. It does okay on aluminium. It's fine, but still, look. That's a whole crucible full of copper, and you know the bottom doesn't get hot. So I'm still messing around with this, and when we're at copper temperatures, it's still melting the the insulation at the top because the heat's in the wrong place. But these were my ignits, and the only casualty so far was the paintbrush that I left down by the side. I see someone else using little graphite crucibles with a hole in them as a funnel, so that's what I did, but I pulled it away so that I could actually reuse it. Otherwise, you know, you end up with an odd shape of alley poking through something that's quite brittle. We'll leave this for a bit, come back, and hopefully it's turned out okay. Yeah?
How to deal with that problem, but it is one that the world needs to take very seriously, and I would hope there were more voices saying this time and time again at a very senior level, saying that we need to have an arrangement about these nuclear power facilities. It's just ridiculous to expect that they can be used as legitimate pieces of real estate in a war.
Huh.
Thanks, Tom. James, thank you so much for your time and for joining us today. Previously,
see a void already.
Told us all about the situation in Kazakhstan where you've been reporting.
I can see a little pinhole there. I think we're going to have problems with this one. Ugh. Really? Until I put a hole through the middle of it. Look, let me show you. That little hole there, it's all shrunk inside, isn't it, and pulled in. I think I needed a core, yeah? So to actually cast a hole in there, not because it's hard to drill a hole, but in order to stop this being such a huge lump of metal. This is reasonably thick here, but obviously that's the biggest lump, biggest, you know.
By a model, conveyor model, there is an affiliate link below, percentage, you have discussed a lot radiation and so on. If you're interested, please click on the videos that are going to appear beside the video.
Alright, I reckon it'll go now. Obviously not right now because everything's in bits, but what have we done? What have I done? Let's throw this back on. It's easier. It's easier if it goes back in an order. Most things are.
Still, however, the cloud moved hundreds of miles away from the city in the aftertime. Town a few hundred kilometres to the northeast. Funnily enough, the residents of the actual Baikonur figured this out, and they took advantage of the shared name. For a few years, they got away with ordering expensive and scarce materials before Soviet authorities.
Pretty cool design. I'm pretty sure I can just pop the shaft off one and stick it in the other hole. Yeah. Cool. Bit like that, I suppose. We go in there. Got to give it a little clean up first. Nice. Camshaft, crankshaft. It's going to be significant difficulty getting this to work, unfortunately. The crankshaft has oil going to it. Sorry, camshaft does, crankshaft doesn't. It's got a seal up there. These mounting holes are the same as for the crankshaft, so this will fit on, but there's not the clearance if I want this actually bolted to the crankshaft. Don't know why they've done it like that. Oh well. We'll figure it out, I'm sure. Okay, so we've got a router bit in the pillar drill. Not ideal. Meddings though, good tough bearings in here, and the pieces on a cobbled together plate on the rotary table. Yeah, and it does seem to be working. So give me a minute and we'll try and hog this out.
away a large part of the air power that can be employed there, and the fuel emission, etc., that could be used elsewhere. And so I think this strike is Russia on this, because I don't think they're capable of doing that. I think this is yet again showing Ukraine able to find the limits and work out where the limits of political, that political military interface, where that point lies. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go. So thank you very much.
Well, what a lot of time I spent doing something I could have probably achieved with a flat plate. I know, maybe I couldn't have done because of the bolts protruding from the adapter stub. Either way, I'm very pleased with that. One of the reasons I did spend so much time on it is I just love this gear case cover. It's ever so beautiful and shapely. It's the nicest bit of the engine. I don't know why I find it so pleasing. It's like the side of an old-fashioned motorbike engine, and they've taken so much care with it. So I find the adapter, the seal housing that was there originally, pretty unsightly, if I'm honest. That looks nicer, doesn't it? It's not even going to get seen. Anyway, so that should seal up the camshaft, which doesn't have an oil seal in there. I've got to refit this with the right bolts. This is all I've got at the minute, and this side has an oil seal on the crankshaft, so it's just got a bit of felt there, oiled felt, to act as a dust seal. Okay, so we need to cut our keyway slots, don't we? In raised pulleys, which could only mean one thing. Obviously, I'm sure you're all well aware of what's coming. Oh, it's obviously tiny shaper time, isn't it? Eh?
That interview, he was talking about high miles targeting and how intelligence cooperation is working, and that led to, I'm delighted that Russia's reading the Telegraph, but that led to Russia.
Okay, we've got this pulley made, grub screw in there and key slot in the bottom there. This bore is tight on the engine. Not quite an interference fit, or maybe it is. It'll go on with a couple of taps, but I'm not going to put it on yet because the cover behind it that I made, I'm waiting for some bolts to turn up for that. So we'll just leave this off just in case I can't get it back off to put the bolts in. You know what I mean? All right, let's get on with the wobbly bits on the bench itself. Alright, I've got 8 little weights here. These had to be this diameter so that they cleared underneath the shaft. You know, pillow blocks only raise them off the steel so far. So we've got 2 on each. This is the longer shaft. The rest are all a bit narrower, so it makes a bit more sense than being this length. And we'll have 2 on each shaft. Yeah. I can always add more later. I think, maybe, but I think this will be plenty. We've got movement on these bearings, which is sort of indicating this shaft is bent enough that it's going to wreck them if I try and operate the machine like this. Yeah. So what? I suppose we'll get them in the press and try and straighten things out a little bit. It's only obviously bent, pulled in along that weld, isn't it? Just dished it like that, so should be fairly easy to straighten out. What we got? About 332 or 2.5 mil. It always, you know, the more crap I can balance on top of each other, the safer I feel about having this right in front of my face. Yeah, this is nice. Lovely. Oh, it wobbles already, didn't it, eh? Okay, so I'm going to leave it here for this video. This will have to be a two-parter because this is taking me absolutely ages. I really haven't got much to show for it, have I? It was just a bunch of pillow blocks bolted to a lump of iron. We made three castings. I do like that. I'm very pleased with that. My end cover, but I haven't got bolts for that yet. That's why that pulley's not on. Well, hi, Charlie. That I sent a picture to my mate Joseph, and he said, "Oh, look, you know, you got your felt on the keyway." But it's not. It's hard up. There's a shoulder there. This is a reduced diameter, and it's hard up against the shoulder. Just in case anyone else is worried. I'm sure you all spotted that. Don't worry. That's fine. That'll be okay. What? So here we are. Oh yeah, I cut a tyre as well. Look at that. Yeah. It's been a crazy couple of weeks, you know. Went away for a couple of days, and then when it's school holidays, all the cars break down. So I've got a noisy diff on my truck, and the old the family bus. The exhaust fell off on that. It's going to fall off in two places, but obviously when the first bit fell off, I found the second bit, so to get a new exhaust on that. Put that on. Gearbox pissed out a load of fluid. I thought it was just where the missus had knocked the pan at the bottom of it, but so I fixed that, fresh fluid in, changed the filter whilst I was down there, and then by the time I got it all cleaned off and run it again, you realised it was the electrical plug, so that all had to come apart again. Wasted 5 litres of oil. So expensive now, isn't it? That's like 20 quid's worth of oil. Well, she was moaning that it didn't have enough power, so I started messing around, checked all the intercooler pipes, couldn't find any fault. But now, as soon as he started driving it again, the engine lights come on, and the fault reader's saying it's got a low boost. So I must have broken something whilst I was hanging off the pipes down. Like sod's law, isn't it? Eh? Everything never rains, it pours. Eh? Never rains, it pours. Either way. I'm pretty confident I can get this finished in another week of evenings or whatever it takes. Yeah, so hopefully this time next week you'll get the finished article. Alright, it's going to be ridiculously long if I don't break it up anyway, isn't it? So here you go, part 1 of the concrete vibrating bench. Alright folks, I'll see you all later, bye bye.